Okay, I'm like out of breath from taking a thumbnail because look at how many books are in my hand right now. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you're new here. You may be new here because the title of this video is for new readers. Not just new readers, maybe if you need a new book, if you need a new quick-paced read, maybe if you're in a slump and you're looking for a new book to read. I've decided it's January. I have not decided it's January actually, it is just January, but I've decided since it's January, I feel like a lot of people may want to start reading this year. They might have put on their New Year's resolution, they want to read 5 books this year, they want to read 20 this year, 100. I feel like reading has gotten so big over the past few years. And not even just that it's gotten big, it's gotten publicized, I guess you could say. It's on social media a lot more, I feel like, now than ever before. With that being said, I feel like a lot of people may want to start reading this year. And I have come up with a huge selection of books in different genres, tropes, a big range of books that you guys can choose from, whatever sounds interesting to you maybe. And I know it's scary starting to read because how many options there are and how many people are recommending books and you're like, I don't know where to start. I'm gonna try to help you in the easiest way possible. Basically, I have, like I said, a huge selection of books in different genres and whatever. And if you don't know what genre you like, just read one from each genre maybe. Whatever sounds most interesting to you, read a few of them, and then you'll kind of, as you continue reading different books in different genres, get your taste in books and what you like in books and what you feel like you're looking for. So I just have a few books that are quick reads. They're pretty short. I feel like they'll be easy to get through, easy to understand, nothing too crazy. Do I have books that are like over 500 pages that I think everyone should read? Yes, but I don't think that they are perfect for new readers. Even if you're not trying to start reading right now, these are books that you can read that are quick-paced, easy, entertaining, all of the above. Before we get started, I want to say thank you to Book of the Month for sponsoring today's video. If you've been here before, you guys know how much I love Book of the Month. If you haven't been here before, if you haven't heard of Book of the Month, they are a super popular and fast-growing online book service for readers. So you choose books every month and they get sent right to your door. Their mission is to promote new and emerging authors and help readers find books that they love. Their team vets hundreds of books each month and then gives their readers a choice from a curated selection of new and early release titles, so you can spend more time reading, less time researching, which is perfect. They are also risk-free, which is amazing. If you have too many books on your TBR that month, or you just want to take a break from receiving more books, you can do so and you won't be charged. Plus, they have the best price for new release hardcover fiction. You can get your first book for just $9.99 with my code Karoli. The 2 books that I have chosen this month, I am so excited about. The first one is a romance called The Reunion by Kayla Olson. I read the description of this and I've never read a book with this kind of plot line, so I thought it was really interesting. It's about this actress who grew up on TV, then she took a huge break, and the show that she was on is coming back with a reunion special, so she's kind of brought back to her past. It sounds really, really interesting. And then I got a mystery slash thriller. This is called What Lies in the Woods by Kate Alice Marshall. 3 girls who used to play a game in the woods, and then one of them got attacked and they sent her to jail, but it says that they were heroes and they were liars, and for decades their friends have kept a secret that might be worth killing for, hidden in the forest. Sounds very, very, very interesting. And then the other books that you can choose from other than those 2, Age of Vice, Lunar Love, Queen of Thieves, Hellbent, Independence. I highly, highly, highly recommend. It's such an easy way to get such good books. It's such a good price. The code and everything is in the description. Thank you, Book of the Month. So now into the huge list of books that I'm going to give you. I'm going to tell you the genre, if they have any tropes in them, and what I liked about them and why I feel like they would be good for new readers. Okay, the first one I don't have with me because my friend is borrowing it, but it's called A Beach Read by Emily Henry. This is one of the books that when I started reading, I was obsessed with, and it was one of the books that kind of got me into the romance and kind of dipped my toe into that genre. It's basically about January, whose father passes away, so she goes to his little lake house to kind of clean it out so she could like sell it, move on with her life, because that house had kind of a past in it that she didn't really want to be associated with anymore. She is a writer, she writes romance novels, so she goes back and she notices that her next door neighbor is Gus. He is another author. He writes a totally different genre, but they kind of spark up this thing. She ends up staying for the summer and they switch genres, they hang out with each other. She takes him on things that would be in a romance novel, he takes her on adventures that would be in the novels that he writes, and they kind of have this thing going on. There's other little plots that go on within it, and it's really entertaining to read just that plot line, but also their romance that brews within it. I was obsessed with it. I was obsessed with the storyline. It's a really easy read. Gus is such a perfect book boyfriend. If you're looking for a romance, definitely check that one out. It's so good. Then I have Every Last Word. This I don't talk about too often. This is a young adult book. This isn't a romance. This is more of a literary fiction book. So in literary fiction books, you can have little subplots of romance or other things that are very entertaining. So in this, it's about a girl who is very, very popular, but she has kind of like a severe OCD thing, and she sees herself not fitting in with her friends anymore. She has a little bit of mental issues that goes on, but she can't really talk about it with her friends. So she meets this girl named Caroline, and she introduces her to the Poets Corner, which is a different little group of people who also feel the same as her, and it's a place where she could really connect with people that feel like her, and she could be like open and honest with these people. So it's a high school dynamic between different friend groups and different personalities, and kind of just like a coming of age a little bit. But this one was really, really good because it has like a little thing that happens at the end of it that really got me, and I feel like if I read this in high school, I would kind of like low-key connect with it. And easy read, it talks about a lot of different themes that I feel like are very important, and I loved it. I thought it was really good. The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is a romance. The tropes that are in here are fake dating, which is one of my favorite tropes. Basically, the two main characters are Olive and Dr. Carlson. He is a professor at I think she's in grad school and she's finishing up school over there. He's not her professor, but he is a professor. And she told her friend that she got over her ex and that she's with someone else, and her friend doesn't believe her. Right in front of her friend, she ends up kissing Adam Carlson, who is this professor that is so grumpy, mean to his students, and just like that persona. But they strike this thing in order to show her friend that she's really moved on, that they are gonna date, and he agrees with it, and it's this whole thing. And I love the fake dating because you see them in public situations in front of her friend, in front of all these people, like having to act like they're a couple. It's just like so entertaining to see how they feel about it, and then seeing other people like really believe that they're like in love, and it's so good. But it also takes place in the science field, so they are scientists. She's in the science school, he's a professor in the science world, so you get that kind of in it. But Ali Hazelwood's writing is very, very, very refreshing. It's very upbeat, really cute. I love Dr. Carlson. Switching genres for a second. This is the Good Girls Guide to Murder series. I actually can't find the first book. I don't know where I put it. This is the third book. This is a trilogy. So there's 3 books in the series. It is a murder mystery, but it's young adult. So it's about Pip, who's in high school. And this is not the first book. This is the third. The first book is just Good Girls Guide to Murder. And basically what happens is she is doing a capstone project in her school, kind of like reopening a case that happened in her school where one of her classmates died. And it's this whole investigation that was closed. She kind of like low-key reopens it and goes through all of the pieces and tries to figure things out when she's promising that she won't, and goes through this whole scene of what happened and kind of like in her head trying to figure out what's going on with like little pieces of the puzzle. It's a really quick read. She's very relatable. A mix of like cute because there's like a subplot of romance in it, but also like you get the murder mystery investigation and all these different characters. Everyone's suspicious. And it's really fun and you feel like you're discovering things with her and uncovering all of these things together. So there's 3 of them. You don't need to read all 3. You can read the first one and stop there, or you can keep going. Your choice, but I highly recommend if you want to try a murder mystery. But like I said, there's a little bit of a romance in it, so if you do like a romance, it's kind of like a mix of it, so you get the best of both, but it's really fun. Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. If you've never been here before, this is my favorite comfort book of all time. If you're gonna choose any romance book, I mean obviously it's your choice, pick this one. I'm obsessed with this book. Macy's mother passes away, so her father buys this little lake house right next to Elliot's family when they're younger, and Macy and Elliot end up just like growing up together. And this book is told in 2 different timelines. So years ago when Macy and Elliot just met each other, they're very young, figuring out life together, they're reading together, they're hanging out, they're best friends, they're like connecting, and it's so good. And then you get the present day, they haven't spoken in those 11 years and you don't know why, you don't know what happened, what broke them up, but you see their connection when they were younger growing up, and it's like they are meant to be together, but their lives are so separate now. You don't know what happened. So good. I recommend this book to literally everyone and anyone that want to try a new book. So my favorite book of all time. Still in the romance genre for the next few, this is The Summer of Broken Rules. This is another young adult book, but this is very uplifting, entertaining, cute. It's about Meredith. The way I just said it's uplifting and entertaining, and I'm about to say that her sister passed away. But her sister passes away and she goes on to Martha's Vineyard with her whole entire family. They have all these houses there, and she meets a guy there who her cousin is getting married, so the step's brother, I don't know, but she meets him and they hit it off, and it's like a really quick, cute romance. But you also get the entertaining part where her family, whenever they go to this island, they play assassin, and everyone has a target and you shoot with the water gun, so they play that while they're there, and you have the romance, and it's very entertaining, it's very cute. Every Summer After. Now here's the thing with this. If you thought Love in Other Words summary story was interesting and you really like those tropes, the second chance romance, the childhood friends, the lovers, and you read it and you love it, you will probably also love Every Summer After. This is by Carly Fortune. This is her first book. It came out last year and it's almost the same type of trope, but just something different happens with them. But they grow up together, their family spends summers together, and like I said, you get the flashbacks of when they're younger, growing up, connecting, seeing each other every year. Fast forward years in the future, they're no longer talking, but they have to like meet up again, and you don't know what's going on, why it's so awkward, why they haven't talked in so long, and you don't know what happened. Obviously you figure it out, but it's kind of like the same trope, it's just like something different happened between the two. But this was so good, so entertaining. The writing is so good, and it's the same kind of theme going on. This is a fan favorite for I feel like a lot of people, and I feel like a lot of people will agree with me, to read Better Than the Movies as like one of your first YA, kind of like a quick cute romance. This is about Liz Buckbaum, and she is kind of like enemies with her neighbor Wes, but she really wants to be with this other guy and he's friends with him, so she says to Wes, help me. So as Wes and Liz are kind of scheming together, feelings end up happening, but they don't realize it because they're so stuck on being enemies and not liking each other, and it's really cute. And Liz is also obsessed with rom-coms, so every chapter is like a quote from a really popular romantic comedy movie, and it's really cheesy, but it's really fast-paced. It's predictable, but like in a good way, and it's like a cute little happily ever after rom-com-y vibe. I'm a sucker for the second chance romance trope. It's my favorite, so I'm going to recommend it to everyone. So another one is Before We Were Strangers by Renee Carlino. This is a romance, but it's pretty short and it's really easy to read. It's one of those books that you can pick up, literally just sit and read and like not want to put it down. You want to know what's going on. It's basically about these two that met in college. They live next door to each other in the college in New York. They kind of just like low-key hit it off, but they were just like platonic friends throughout this little experience. They would do everything together, and he was new to the school, so she took him around and kind of showed him places and what's going on and all the stuff that she knows about it. So they kind of connected back then. He's a photographer, she's into music. Fast forward in the future, they're older, living separate lives, they don't talk anymore, you don't know why. Can you tell us my favorite trope? But he sees her on the subway platform and she sees him. She's on the subway, he's looking in, and he's like, Grace. She's like, oh. And it's like so good. He needs to now find Grace and try to figure out what happened between them. So good. Really easy read, but really entertaining. And then I have another one for anyone that doesn't want to read a romance book and doesn't want to read a mystery thriller. So this is a just straight up literary fiction. Really good. Highly recommend if you're into this kind of genre. It's called Mary Jane, a coming of age that takes place in the 1970s, I believe. And it's about this girl who comes from this very strict, plans everything, has a scheduled family. For the summer, she is babysitting the new neighbors a few streets over. Their family is just go with the flow, musical people, and they are just so opposite from her family. She learns a lot of lessons. There's so many themes in this book, and it's so good. The character development in this book, you feel like you know them, and it's so good. I highly recommend. It is so fun. The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This is another romance. I will say it is another fake dating trope, but it is done so well. The plot is different from any other book I've read, so it's definitely interesting. Girl is a like Secret Service type of bodyguard where she is put onto these like higher up like famous people, and she's put there to make sure that nothing happens to them. And then she's assigned to an actor, and he doesn't want her, but like it needs to happen. The only thing is his mom is sick and he doesn't want to break the news that he's being stalked and needs a Secret Service, so he pretends that she's his girlfriend. They go live with his mom for a little bit. It is so interesting because you have her, the bodyguard, and I feel like usually in books where there's a bodyguard, it's the man and the guy that's like all big and bodyguard, but no, it's her, and it's so good. And their banter, the writing, it's so quick. I'm obsessed with that book. I have a book that I talk about a lot on this channel, Rock Paper Scissors by Alice Feeney. This is a mystery thriller if you want to dip into that genre. This is a really good one that's not young adult. It'll keep you on your toes the whole time, and the ending will have you completely shook and just mind blown. It's about a married couple that are going on kind of like a retreat that she won to a getaway in Scotland. It's basically at this kind of chapel in the middle of nowhere. It's a snowstorm, and the husband has facial blindness, so he can't recognize faces, he can't recognize himself, his wife, and it's like secrets between the two are revealed, and it's so suspicious and suspenseful and so good, and you don't know what's happening, who to trust. Oh, So good. Back to romance. This is Serenading Heartbreak by Ella Fields. This is a love triangle if you want to try out that trope. It's basically about this girl who grew up with this one guy who is her brother's best friend that she just kind of hit it off with, and like her first true love, but it never really worked out. It was very toxic. So she ended up going away to school and meeting someone new, but she keeps going back to him. But the guy who's new, his name is Aiden. He's a baseball player and he's just like perfect book boyfriend, honestly. But she's now like stuck between the two because she keeps going back to the toxicity, and she has him, and it's like, who does she choose and what does she do when you get all these different relationships? And the one from her childhood is actually in a band, so you get that like rock star trope within the baseball player. It's so good. I love this book and I recommend. So I only have one fantasy book to recommend because I feel like fantasy is hard to get into. I'm still trying to get into it and not be confused or bored, or it's a lot fantasy for me at least. So this is the one that I recommend for anyone that wants to try to get into just like a different world, I guess. And this is called Heart of the Raven Prince. It's part of the Entangled with Fae series, but you can read this as a standalone. So I'm just gonna recommend this one for now, and then you can go through all the other ones in this series of 4. But this is, I feel like, really good to start for fantasy because this is a princess retelling, which I feel like is so easy because a lot of us already know the basis of the story. So this is a Cinderella retelling, and I feel like, at least when I went into it, I was like, okay, evil stepsisters, evil stepmother, there's a ball, she loses a shoe, all that stuff, and that's basically what happens in this, but a different take on it because she is fae, she has magic powers. Like, it's a mix between the Cinderella retelling and like her romance, and it's really, really good. It's really cute. It's like Bridgerton meets Cinderella meets fairies, and it's like easier to understand. It's also young adult, so it's like easy to pick up, and it's very entertaining, and it's quick to get through. It's not too hard to understand the new world and the new terms. It's really easy to just kind of like pick up on, and it's so good. I love this one so much. This is like one of my 5-star reads. This is part of a series. This is the Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. This is a trilogy, so there's 3 of these. This is the first one, and then it's the Hawthorne Legacy, and then it's the Final Gambit. Now this series is so good. It's young adult, but it's about this girl Avery who randomly gets taken out of school, flown on a private jet back to another state, and shown in this huge mansion, and is set in the living room with a bunch of family members that she has no idea who they are, and they're reading the will of their grandfather that just passed away. He left his entire fortune to her, and she's like, I don't know this man, I don't know this family, I don't know what's going on. There's so many questions. There's 4 brothers and a mom and aunt, and there's so many characters, and you're like, what? So you kind of go along with her as she meets all these family members, and she's given this Hawthorne house. Hawthorne is the last name of the grandfather that passed away. There's subplot of romance in here, which is really, really fun, but you also get her and some of the brothers trying to figure out what's going on and why she got the will through riddles and secret passages and all different things throughout this mansion that the grandfather let them on a little game to follow and figure out. So quick. The chapters are so short. There's 3 of them, like I said, and each one, it just gets so good. You're uncovering things with them, and highly recommend. The last of the thriller / mystery type of book genre. So this is called The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Her writing reminds me of my favorite mystery author, You Don't Want to Stop Reading. It's about this girl who is homeless and she needs money, and she gets hired by this rich family to be their housemaid, but the mother is just completely like psychotic. Not the mother, it is the mother of the child, but like the wife is just so crazy. One second she's like completely normal, acting fine, and the other second she's like going crazy, and you kind of just follow along of the housemaid trying to figure out what's wrong with the wife and why she's acting that way, but also trying to take care of the house and figure out the daughter and the husband and all of that. As you go on, you uncover all of these things, there's secrets, and it's so good. Last, but certainly not least, is the last romance and the last book that I'm going to be talking about, which is Part of Your World. This is really, really good because these have different tropes than I think anything I've talked about. I know a lot were repetitive. This is a small town age gap about a woman who ends up ran off the road into a ditch and is coming home from a funeral, is stuck in this small town, and this guy kind of gets her out of it, and then she meets him in the bar, and it's like this like really quick fling. She never thinks she's gonna see him again. She goes back home to her huge mansion. She has so much money because her family is this huge legacy of doctors, and she's part of this legacy. She's kind of like next up to be part of it, but she continues to see this guy who lives in a small town, doesn't have as much money as her, complete opposite as her, and is younger than her. So she just thinks this is like fun little fling, nothing crazy, but feelings grow, and she ends up seeing more about this small town than she realized, and kind of figuring out what she wants. And it's more about kind of her figuring things out, but also like being with him, and it's really cute, and I love them. These are all the books that I highly recommend if you are trying to get into reading. If you just need a new book, you're just looking for something new, something refreshing, and you haven't read any of these, I recommend obviously I do recommend all these. If you're trying out all these different genres and you're trying to figure out what you like, pick some from each one, and eventually you'll figure out what you like and what you don't like in books. But I feel like this is a good enough range to kind of get the taste of different things in these books. But there's definitely so much more I could recommend, and so many other books that I feel like are good for people I feel like that just started reading and want to like kind of spread out into other authors and books. And I have a few that I feel like would be so good, but I don't think they're good for like first time readers. And I feel like these are good for people that are just like really want to get into reading this year. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you got at least one book from this recommendation video. I always just pray that there's just one person that takes one book from this, and I hope at least one of you starts reading this year. It is life-changing. It is so fun to just get into a whole different world, different people, step out of reality. Highly recommend reading. That is what I recommend. I hope you guys enjoyed. Also, if you guys are trying to get into reading, if you are already reading, I started a Patreon, a book club. There's a bunch of different features in it as well. It's not just the book club, but if you want to read together, be part of our community, I'll link down below the video of me just like announcing it and have all the details to what's involved in this book club down below in the description as well. So you guys can check that out if you want to join. I'm so excited. Filming this, it hasn't started yet. It would have already been started once this video is out. So definitely check that out. I hope you guys enjoy. I will see you hopefully in the next one. Bye!